is we're in our playoffs just 1 week early. It's win or go home. So that's the mentality for our guys. But we have the talent, we have the scheme. We just have to go out there and execute it and do our jobs. And that's what we've, when we have success and have had success this year, that's been the case.
And look who's here with us. Now we have Louis Riddick joining First Take. And Dominique, I want to know, do you think that the Browns are good enough to reach the AFC title game?
Absolutely not, and especially after the news that Adam Schefter dropped on Get Up earlier today, where Lewis and I were both on. Like, you're right, they got a Christmas gift by the Steelers, sitting a lot of starters, but they got some coal in their stocking too, because their facility, I believe Adam reported on Get Up this morning, their facility got closed once again because of COVID-related concerns. So I'm not even sure that they're going to make the playoffs at this point. I certainly don't believe that they're going to make it to the championship game. There are good teams in AFC. To get to the championship game, they're going to have to beat Kansas City or beat the Bills. They can't beat either of those teams, especially if they can't even get past the Steelers this week.
Yeah, it's a tough situation. I mean, what the news that came out of there this morning kind of changes everything for them because, first and foremost, I mean, these guys can't practice now. So now they're meeting virtually. The facility's closed. They can't really iron out the details of what they want to get done against the Pittsburgh Steelers, which I still think they should be able to beat this football team. But if you're constantly having to deal with stopping and starting and not being able to get together, we've seen how that can wreak havoc on a team's chemistry and their ability to execute from week after week. And we know once you get into the playoffs, then all of a sudden things become ratcheted up 2-3-fold, and then your execution then becomes what is going to drive your success and or lead to your failure. And without being able to practice, without being able to walk through certain things, without being able to run through certain things as far as intricate details of the game plan to beat teams like Buffalo and Kansas City, it's going to make it tough. Now, that being said, if they can somehow get back to a regular schedule and they don't lose some vital, critical components of their football team, look, I think the Browns are set up to surprise some people because what are the playoffs about? What is December and January football about? It's about controlling the line of scrimmage, controlling the time of possession, playing good defense, and if you can play with the lead, having people who can put quarterbacks on the ground. Cleveland has all of that stuff. It's just a matter of whether or not they can consistently put it into play and execute on those things on a consistent basis. But now there's just so many unknowns that you just don't know. You just don't know what's going to happen this weekend, let alone going into the playoffs. But I believe in this football team. I saw them firsthand on the Monday night game against the Ravens. I think they have turned the corner. But the things that are happening there now as far as their facility being shut down has definitely thrown a monkey wrench into everything. And look, if you're trying to bet this game or predict this game, good luck. Good luck predicting anything when you have teams that have this kind of adversity.
Yeah, I think you're right. We have to assume that they're going to be okay. They make the playoffs. Assume that they can keep all their talent and assume that they're going to be at full strength in the playoffs. Even given all those assumptions, I don't believe that they're going to make it to the AFC Championship. And I'm not sure that you believe they're going to. I don't believe they can because of the word that you said. Inconsistency. Like, of course, if they can do all those things every week, then of course they'll make it to the AFC Championship game. But they haven't done all those things in repetitive weeks in 3 weeks in a row, 3 weekends in a row. They haven't done that all season against good opponents. I don't see that happening. And we saw Baker Mayfield able to close out the game Monday Night Football. You were there doing a great job calling that game, and that was Baker Mayfield's masterpiece. And they still lost to a Ravens team that defense was depleted. So I'm not sure that I believe that the Browns can do that 3 weekends in a row, even if everyone's healthy in the playoffs in January. And again, I'm going to go back to this point. They could get lucky, maybe, and beat and win the first round of playoffs. Maybe it's not even luck. Maybe they're better than the team that they get matched up against. But that following week, they're going to have to see Buffalo or Kansas City, and that's where it stops. It stops right there. They can't score with either of them.
Louis, I'm curious, what are the real expectations for the Browns, being that they're going through so much right now?
I still think the expectation, Charlie, has to be that they win this football game this weekend. It just has to be because, look, number one, even given the fact that they're not going to be able to be in their facility right now, the fact of the matter is this: it does look like they're going to be at full strength offensively. They're going to have their full complement of wide receivers to go along with their backs and offensive line that is also getting healthy. So I think, given the fact that Pittsburgh is going to rest more than just Ben Roethlisberger, and you could have some key components of that football team on the defensive side sit out, I think the expectation is they win this game this week. They have to. For them to lose to a Mason Rudolph quarterback football team, and that's not meant as disrespect to Mason Rudolph, but for this football team to lose to the Steelers, given the fact that they are already in the playoffs and probably looking ahead to their first game and whatever that matchup is going to be, would be hugely disappointing for this fan base, for this organization, for the team overall. And I think for the perception surrounding Baker Mayfield, although I don't think Baker needs to concern himself with the perception surrounding him, but I think they understand the importance of this. I think they have a good grasp of the fact that people do not hope that they're good. They expect them to be good at this point in time, given some of the performances that they put on. So they understand that they need to come out and play their very best no matter what the circumstances are, no matter how much practice they can or cannot have this week in particular. Right. They need to get in, and I think they're going to approach this week regardless and approach this game regardless with that kind of urgency. And I expect them to play well. I would be very disappointed if they didn't come out and just come out on fire in this football game, playing to who they are, running the football, emphasizing play-action passing game, and the defense hopefully can play with the lead, and then they can get after the passer and get after Mason Rudolph and get out of here with the win. If it doesn't play out that way, I think there's going to be a lot of disappointed people for Cleveland, regardless of what their history has been, regardless of how low expectations have been with them in the past.
Yeah, I think you're right. If they lose this game, it'll be disappointing. It'll make the end of the season very disappointing. However, I still think this season would have been a success.